I'm Dr. Fred Ogola. I'm a professor of strategy and decision making at Strathmore Business School. I am also a director at TBS, Trailblazer Business Strategies. This week, our main focus is on the fact that so many companies are complaining, some of them are threatening to shut down because of the economic downtime that is affecting the country. We talk about the cost of living having gone up, prices of things having shot up, and people are wondering whether they should keep their businesses. I've been able to meet several entrepreneurs who are complaining of the same. And to mark it all, one of the very, very promising businesses that was launched nearly a year ago, that is called Kune Foods, that came out with what it called a very innovative business model, which is called preparing ready-to-eat food. First of all, how can a business that is just launched 1 year ago shut down? Normally that is not very serious problem, because when a business starts, there's a risk called liability of newness. What is that? The fact that you are new, you are more vulnerable, just like a young baby after being born is more vulnerable to so many diseases, and therefore those infancy stages of a child are very vulnerable stages. So a company at its infancy stages, of course, remains very vulnerable. But why should this be a concern if it is normal? It is my concern because this company had raised a working capital of around 518.5 billion Kenya shillings to finance its working capital. It has started making some revenue. For example, it had been selling its meal. It sells food in terms of meals. So one meal was costing $3, and it had sold it to 55,000 customers within 1 year, and that means around 38.7 million shillings in terms of revenue. It had acquired 6,000 individual clients and 1,000 corporate clients. By any measure, that market is a big market enough that no one should shut down. In any case, the complaint for the reasons for shutting down from the CEO and founder is that there was a serious economic downtime in terms of high inflation rates, and then at the same time there was the tightening of investment market that affected how his operations were going to work. So they said they could not be able to finance the operation, and with a working capital of 517.8 billion Kenya shillings, I'm sure there is something that raises concern. So what is the problem here? I foresee what we don't want to focus too much on Kune Foods, but across the board, why companies normally can start and shut down and complain. There are a few things we can learn from Kune here. Kune lacked a proper value proposition. A value proposition to the client. Remember, if you read anything in the media out about Kune Foods, there was a claim that during the launch, Kune blamed Kenyans for not being able to offer these ready-to-eat markets, and that Kenyans were not having very good eating habits. And it went viral, and Kenyans complained. In fact, Kenyans complained and tweeted, Facebooked, TikToked about it. And in as much as they went on to apologize, things didn't go down well with this person. Secondly, the complaint that operations were not done well shows that we need to focus this week in two issues. One, how do you come up with a proper value proposition? And secondly, how do you sustain the value proposition through sustainable operational excellence? So first and foremost, how do you come up with a value proposition? What is a value proposition? A value proposition is a promise a business gives to its clients. It can be economic, it can be in terms of value, it can be in terms of social, among other parameters. But let me give you the best way to do it. To do a proper value proposition, as an entrepreneur, you need to find out what is the unmet need that your product wants to offer or service, or your corporate wants to offer. What do I mean by that? Before you exist, what is the gap that your company wants to fill? And of course, this is very easy. Let me give you a simple example with M-Pesa. Before Safaricom launched M-Pesa, it found out that 57%, 58% of money being transferred in the economy were going by bus. 27% were by hand. And 3% was by sending money to somebody's account. The unmet need in this context before M-Pesa came was that 88% of money transferred across the country was in unfast business, meaning that it was not fast. And I don't know about English. We are concerned about strategy. It was unfast. The second thing was that money was unsafe because somebody could actually rob you of it. Buses could be stopped, somebody could take the money. And also that money was unreliable, meaning that when you give somebody money by bus or by hand, sometimes themselves could cheat you, they lost money, yet they didn't lose the money. So that money was unfast, it was unsafe, it was unreliable. So when you're setting up a business, you need to come up with what is the earn that your business is solving. Then Safaricom converted the unmet need, which is the earns, the three earns, into fast, safe, and reliable money transfer. And because Safaricom found out that many Kenyans living in Nairobi were actually immigrants, remember Kenyans are very big immigrants, he came with the value proposition, send money home fast, safe, and reliable. So when you're building a business, you have to ensure you have got the business value proposition clearly defined like Safaricom defined it. Send money home fast, safe, and reliable. So let me talk about the 4 things that allows you to have a sustainable value proposition through operational excellence. The first thing is sales, marketing, and merchandising. What do I mean by that? When you start a business, you must be a very good salesperson, but what are you selling? What are you marketing? You are selling and marketing the value proposition. Like I told you, send money home fast, safe, and reliable. Merchandising means that people need to see the visibility about your good. That's why you see Glovo all over with the bag they carry. That's the merchandise. How do you make the delivery home so that people can see it visibly and tangibly? The second thing is the design and development. Normally when you launch your first product, you may find that it is serving the need, but there are a few things you need to adjust. I'm sure even Safaricom, M-Pesa need a lot of tweaking. So that's the time when you tweak the product, you listen to the client. When you deliver food to these people, can you have someone listen to the gossip they talk about your product? This gossip about your product gives you a lot of information that can allow you to design and develop your product and value proposition closer to what the client looks for. And that is something very essential. The third one, we call it sourcing, procurement, and production. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, these people claim that the inflations were very high, food prices were very expensive, so they could not further the operation. But where were they sourcing for the food? Where they were getting the vegetables? Where they were getting the meat, fish, and the rest? They could have alternative ways to source, procure, but at the same time, they could also redesign because the operations were too expensive. Imagine you have the working capital of 518 billion Kenya shillings, you are making a revenue of around 38.7 million Kenya shillings. That shows that it was operationally inefficient. So could you do what's called ODM? I'm not talking about ODM as a party. I'm talking about on-demand production, on-demand cooking, on-demand delivery. Those things normally allow things to become cheaper. For example, as a lecturer, if you offer courses that people have to come to, they are more expensive than on-demand courses, as and when they require them. Last but not least, on the way to make your operational sustainable and efficient is distribution and last mile. That distribution and last mile is very important because when somebody orders food using your application, the delivery must be done on time, must be done as promised, and must be done with that last mile. It's not a smile, but a mile. When someone knocks your door and says, here is your Kune food package, it feels so good. But when you get somebody from Glovo delivering Kune food, then they're wondering whether they are actually buying from Kune food or Kune is just one broker between Glovo or, if you like, another food supplier and Kune food. So if you want to maintain your operations excellently, take these 4 matters seriously, develop a value proposition, So all businesses that are suffering, redefine the business model, redefine your business value proposition. At the same time, take care of these sustainable operational efficiency, 4 very good practices. Thank you.